Okay, religion and the public schools. So it starts. You want to click to the next slide for me?
Sure.
The First Amendment serves as the basis for delineating certain individual religious rights and freedoms, as well as the government prohibitions regarding religion. The First Amendment is what controls that the most, and that states that Congress shall make no laws respecting on establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise of thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances.
While the initial intent of the First Amendment prohibited Congress from making laws supporting religion or prohibiting the rights of individuals to exercise their religious rights, the United States Supreme Court, in a compelling decision, Cantwell versus Connecticut, held that this prohibition aimed at Congress also applied to the states as well. The First Amendment contains two essential clauses regarding religion, the Establishment Clause and the Free Exercise Clause. The Establishment Clause prohibits the state from passing laws that aid a religion or show preference of one religion over another. So this kind of starts the separation of church and state.
And I thought that the establishment clause was kind of interesting because it talks about school personnel acting as government officials, which I don't consider that to be my job, but
The Free Exercise Clause prohibits the state from interfering with individual religious freedoms. So they can't say you can't do this. The combined effect of these two clauses compels public schools as state agencies to maintain a neutral position regarding religious matters in the daily operations. So we're not trying to sway one person one direction or the other. And then the US Supreme Court held in the Schmepp and Murray cases that school speech and Bible reading is unconstitutional.
And then silent prayer and meditation. The United States Supreme Court in 1985 responded to silent meditation and prayer by ruling in the Wallace v. Jaffrey case that a period of silence set aside for meditation or voluntary prayer in public schools is in violation of the First Amendment. And then aid to parochial schools. In cases where evidence reveals that the aid directly benefited the child rather than the parochial school, courts have been permissive in allowing certain types of aid under the child benefit theory.
This theory is valid if parochial children are the primary beneficiaries of a public supported service provided for all children. Conversely, if the aid serves to primarily benefit parochial schools, it will be deemed impermissible and a violation of the First Amendment. I know also with this, school vouchers is a hot topic right now, and if tax funded dollars can go to parochial schools. So I know that has even hit the Supreme Court, and a lot of decisions are still kind of being made on that, on if parochial schools can benefit from taxpayer funds.
The Lemon versus Kurtzman and the Early versus DeSeno cases are perhaps the most significant early cases involving the state aid in parochial schools. These cases arose when Rhode Island and Pennsylvania laws providing assistance to parochial schools, their students and teachers were challenged by various citizens and taxpayers. And the US Supreme Court subsequently had held that a law providing a state subsidy for non-public school teachers' salaries is unconstitutional, even when the funds are paid only to teachers of that subject area.
so that goes along with what you're saying, Lexi, because I think it's unconstitutional. You can't have public funds going to private schools, and if you do, they have to then follow all the public school laws and rules.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, especially because I know in the last legislative session here in Nebraska, school vouchers was a
Yeah.
topic that got brought up a lot. So this kind of goes right with that.
I found it interesting that the voters voted against it and we still were going to go through with it.
Yes.
Wait. I did. Okay, sorry. So religious symbols in public schools are not something that can be displayed over other materials. It might be appropriate, however, for public school teachers to acknowledge and explain various holidays of all cultures and religions as a unit, um, or some other related subject, as long as a secular purpose is served and you're not pushing your own religious agendas there. School-sponsored activities. So at commencement or graduation exercises, any type of school-sponsored prayer at athletic contests is deemed to be a violation of the First Amendment, and the principle of neutrality mandates that public schools remain neutral in all matters relating to religion. So something I'm thinking about, our school district does like a prayer every when we start back to school. They have different churches and church leaders from the area do it every year. But we've said for many years, we wonder how much longer they're going to continue to be able to have that prayer at the start of the school year. It's just with teachers, not with students. But
On that school-sponsored activity too, I know there was a court case. I don't remember the exact year. I want to say 2022. There was a football coach who was just himself praying before each game, and he was sued over it and taken to court. And the court actually sided with the football coach, stating that he wasn't encouraging others to pray. But I think that that's interesting. So as long as it's not, I guess, group sponsored, he was allowed to continue praying. But
yeah,
In that case, weren't there students that were joining him, but he wasn't forcing them to join. He just
I think you're
started
right.
on his own, and then students had the choice to join or not.
they joined as they wanted to.
Yeah.
I remember that one. That was a good one. Prayer at athletic contests. That goes right into what we were just talking about. Prohibition of prayer at school events was given a majority thrust when the United States Supreme Court, in a 6-3 ruling in the Santa Fe Independent School District v. Jane Doe, banned student-led prayer at athletic contests, graduations, and other school-sponsored events. And then in the book, it was that court case. What page was that on? Because I thought that was really interesting too. Oh, there was a previous court case where this one challenged the ruling of that other one. So it kind of, they went against each other.
23, if you were curious. The Santa Fe case starts on page 23.
Yes. And in that other court case that it challenged, the previous court case permitted it, and then this one overruled that one. And then the use of facilities by religious student groups. Congress attempted to address facility use when it passed the Equal Access Act in 1984 for the express purpose of providing student religious clubs equal opportunities to access high school facilities as other non-curricular clubs enjoyed. This one made me think of like our school has an FCA, and then in the past we had opened a few classrooms up for the Catholic school to use 1 or 2 classrooms for their God, why can't I think of it? Their catechism? Yes.
Yeah.
I should probably know that. That's bad of me.
All of our school buildings allow churches to use the buildings in off hours for services in every building. We've had multiple churches in the elementary schools and the middle school over the years before they built their own buildings.
I think our school board actually we wrote a policy in regards to that, just to make sure that the Equal Access Act was being met. Okay, I will be right back. Go ahead.
Under federal, it is unlawful for any public secondary school that has created a limited open forum to deny access to student-initiated groups on the basis of religion, political, or philosophical content of their speech. A limited open forum exists when an administrator allows 1 or more non-curricular related student groups to meet on school premises during non-instructional time. So I think that's kind of what we were just talking about, letting groups come in, and so there's kind of the law that says that it is allowed. Religious activities and holiday programs. The observance of holy days by public school is clearly an unconstitutional activity if conducted in a devotional atmosphere. The First Amendment prohibits states from either aiding religion or showing preference of one religion over another. So I think of that a little bit on holy days. You know, obviously a school isn't going to cancel school because of one holy day. I mean, we're just going to treat it separation of church and state.
Public schools may not celebrate religious holidays. So if you think about it, we're not going to say we're having a Christmas program, we're having a holiday program when it comes to like during that time. There should be no worship or devotional services, religious pageants, or plays of any nature held in the school. However, certain programs may be conducted if a secular purpose is clearly served. And then we're going to get into the distribution of religious materials. Public school cannot distribute religious materials while on school premises. Such practice would be a clear violation of the Establishment Clause.
And public school officials may also not allow religious groups to distribute any materials having to do with their religion on school grounds. Supporting those practices would should suggest that the school embraces that religion, and suggest a preference of one religion over another, and that would not maintain our neutral status.
And then,
Oh,
what was
sorry.
it? Sorry. Is it my turn or your turn yet? Sorry.
It's okay.
Is it my turn?
Think it's what I have one more.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
Teaching the Bible in public schools. The Bible may be taught in public schools if it is not offered for religious purposes. It may be taught to facilitate an understanding of best literary works or historical works, as well as contemporary speech and writing. I think probably the biggest example of this would be um, evolution versus creationism. And there are in the past, a lot of court cases revolving around those specific issues.
Okay, now it's my turn. Bible teaching may not be associated with any form of worship. It must be taught objectively as a component of a secular program. One of the things one of our English teachers had done in the past, I don't think she does it anymore, but when they were doing comparing and contrasting, one of the subjects lines that they did was they did use different verses from different publishers of the Bible to show that how people do different interpretations. Again, it wasn't like a religious teaching. Are you gonna keep eating here? There you go. You're fine. Okay, you're done. But she used it to teach comparing and contrasting as like a beginning part of the lesson. And then intelligent design. Intelligent design is a controversial concept which suggests that a certain features of the universe, including living things, exhibit characteristics of product derived from an intelligent cause rather than the natural selection.
Supporters of this theory believe that the ultimate designer of living things is God. A district court held that it is unconstitutional to teach intelligent design in public schools. So obviously, that would be promoting one religion or one belief over another. So that's not allowed. Theory of evolution. Evolution theory suggests that all life is related and has descended from a common ancestor. Historically, this theory has been banned from public school curriculum based on the view that it conflicted with the biblical version of creation. And we kind of talked about the evolution a little bit before. It's kind of always a hot topic in education.
Yeah.
So in recent times, the U.S. Supreme Court prevented lawmakers from banning it and holding that evolution is a science rather than a secular religion. So next, we're going to talk about the use of religious garb by school personnel. So wearing the garb by public school teachers, there is an issue between this. Is it going to influence the students within the classroom? If it feels like it's influencing the students, it's not permitted. So many state statutes prohibit public teachers from wearing religious garbs in the classroom.
And then the Pledge of Allegiance. So there was a case, West Virginia v. Burnett, where the Supreme Court of the United States upheld that public schools may not require students to salute the flag or say the Pledge of Allegiance. It has to be voluntary. And I find this interesting because in my preschool curriculum, we are told that we have to say the pledge, like that's part of social studies. So we have to have the pledge that we were going over our curriculum this last year and what all we have to do in a preschool classroom to follow our curriculum, what's mandatory, what's not. And the pledge was listed as something that we had to do. So I find this very interesting.
Yeah, I would agree. I also find it interesting as the pledge is something that I know I do in my classroom every day.
Yeah.
Oh.
I wonder if the kids think it's voluntary.
I was just wondering that. Yeah, I was like, I guess I never say like everyone has to do it, so I'm not making it. But yeah, do they understand like they don't have to do it? I don't know. That is interesting.
In preschool, I don't think that they would understand that they don't have to if they don't want to. You're the
Yeah.
teacher, you're the adult, I don't know.
I know sometimes ours is even like over the school intercom. Like it's a whole district. Like everyone stops at one time to do it. So I don't know, like, do all the kids know you don't have to do it? I don't know.